Good morning. I know it's early, but I can't move through my day unless I air out my feelings on this situation. Because I am angry. Let's start with Sean Dowdell. In my book, Sean Dowdell is a coward and an opportunist, as well as a liar, a thief, and a hypocrite. He's a little kid in a big boy's body. And that's why he has a hard time taking accountability for his own actions. Oh, it's probably just one of the reasons. I'm sure there are more. But for those of you who don't know, Sean and I have a very long history. About as long as my relationship with my father. Let's get into it. In March of 2023, just this last year, Sean Dowdell attempted to gaslight me into a fist fight over a video game DLC deal. As if that wasn't embarrassing enough. There's more. I called him out in public. Not only did I call out this behavior, but I also called out the #4UChester tour, and I also called out his joke of a book. And how he took my father's words and changed them for his own benefit to sell his book. If any of you are interested in seeing when and how I said this, feel free to go look at all the stories encapsulated in the highlights on my bio page. This gaslight occurred only after I got a sus email from Concord Publishing about the need for a member of Chester's approval party to sign off on the DLC deal, which I'm not a part of. Nobody in their right mind would include me on the approval party because I would say no to everything. There would be no gray days. There would be no Dead by Sunrise honorary birthday vinyl. There would be nothing because Chester's dead. There would be no Meteora box set anniversary. There would be no Hybrid Theory box set anniversary. There would be no Apple Music fucking interviews. There would be no Howard Stern. There would be nothing. Because my father is dead and gone. In case we all forgot. I get this email and I'm like, there's no way that this is for me. So I call Concord. They tell me they can't tell me who the approval party is. They tell me they can't tell me what the deal really is all about. They can't tell me who's asking for what, why, what the timelines are. They can't tell me anything. I say, well, can you patch me into higher management? Because this is a pretty serious oversight, the way that you guys are sending privileged, private information to random people without any oversight. This guy tells me that they're just verifying information. They don't know anything and they don't have access to higher management. So they can't pass any messages along. They can't patch me through. It's just me and him. Okay? And I asked him, I said, how did I end up getting an email? If you don't know anything, then how come I ended up getting an email? And he said, well, we needed somebody from the approval party and we don't know who it is. So we just typed in Chester's last name. We got Isaiah and we got you. And I said, and then what? You just sent the email? And they said, yes. And I said, don't ever do that again. Ever. If you're not sending that information to the person it's for, do not send it. That has to be a breach of confidentiality. Following my call with Concord Publishing, I thought if I were Sean, I would want someone to let me know that this happened, regardless of what beef we might have between us. So, begrudgingly, I called Sean Dowdell to let him know that this had happened, that I watched out for him, and that I let them know it should never happen again. This led to a 3-hour conversation where I told Sean about this platform, my ongoing project, how my thoughts had changed on Chester's death, and how I had proof to back up my claims that something wasn't right. During this conversation, Sean Dowdell revealed to me that for 6 years, he had been holding on to private information that Chester had shared with him, interactions that Chester had had with him before he died, that validated most of the, quote, conspiratorial claims that fans and business partners and music industry friends of Chester's had made in his passing. Claims that all of those people were told they were insane for even postulating in the first place, and that if they held in their heart, they should just disappear. They should basically become non-existent because there's only one narrative, the major narrative. And I said, Sean, why would you hold on to this for so long? And why would you allow so many people to be beat down by this? At this time, I'm not going into what Sean told me about his experiences with Chester, about the information that he's been holding. But I will say that I have said it. It's here. You just have to know where to look. So if you're interested in hearing what he had said in some manner or another, you can go look for those eggs. Happy hunting. Of course, I asked to see proof of the information he was sharing with me. And he said to me, I don't want a paper trail, Jamie, but I'd be happy to show you in person if you're willing to come to Phoenix. And I said, okay, I'll do that. I would love to. That never happened. Because before we could even have a real conversation again, he would backtrack and gaslight like nobody's business. You'd think he was just a professional at it, but I digress. Anyways, so I tell Sean, look, I am not a part of the approval party. The only thing my opinion would be good for is goodwill. It would just be a moral backing. So, you guys are going to do what you're going to do. I'll think about this DLC deal, which I'm against, and see if I can rationalize it in a way that is beneficial for the band, as well as for me and the other children. Fast forward 2 weeks. I've sent Sean Dowdell about 5 or 6 pieces of evidence to justify the change of mind that I've had with regards to Chester's passing. He doesn't respond on his own. He doesn't offer any thoughts on what I shared on his own. I have to circle back around and remind him that I had sent him things and ask him myself what he thought. To which he responded, I don't see how any of this correlates. It's a rabbit hole that I will not go down. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm sticking to the main narrative and I don't want to talk about this anymore. And I said, okay. And then inside I said, he backtracked on pretty much everything that we talked about. By the time I'd circled back to Sean about the evidence that I'd sent him, the DLC deadline had passed. Sean would never bring up the DLC deadline or the DLC ever again. So not only did Sean backtrack on everything that he had said in our 3-hour conversation. But he also failed to connect with the actual thing that brought us together. Almost as if the DLC deal fell away as a false pretext to interaction. But I'm just reaching. Before we move away from the backtrack and toward the gaslight, I do want to share some of the information that I sent to Sean Dowdell. See, I was in specific trying to illuminate the predatory practices and processes of the music industry. I sent him articles on a man named Leonard Blavatnik, who was at one time a board member of Warner Music Group and currently is the owner. He was Chester's boss for many years. I sent him an article describing Mike Shinoda's appointment as an experimental pioneer of the Warner Music Group Web3 development. And I sent him an article about the replacement drummer for Dead by Sunrise, Frank Zumo, claiming the day that Chester was announced dead, Dead by Sunrise was going to be playing shows in the near future. To be clear, Sean Dowdell had said that if he found out that Mike Shinoda in particular was manipulating his audience and that he was in fact allowing himself to be the sounding board for Warner Music Group's Web3 development, he would kick Mike's ass himself. Sean's words, "I'll kick Mike's ass myself." But when he read the article, he didn't seem to care very much. Backtrack. I asked him about Frank Zumo. "Yeah, Frank doesn't know shit." Backtrack. Leonard Blavatnik. "Who?" This man is excellent at playing ignorant. I believe the technical term is weaponized incompetence, my friends. Oh, it's a dance party. Guess what? It only took him a year, but the coward showed his fucking face. He doesn't know I'm over here telling the truth, guys. He doesn't know I'm over here lighting him up again. He doesn't know. Somebody better tell him. Actually, don't. I prefer it be a fucking surprise. He came into my DMs just now. He commented on the sellouts post only. He only responded to me after I called him a sellout. A pussy-ass bitch didn't fucking work, but fucking sellout did. You are a joke. Sean, you're so funny, bro. I hope when you're done with this cover band nonsense, you take up comedy because you're better at it than Mike. Because see, here's the thing is you believe your jokes. Mike doesn't believe his jokes. You believe your jokes though. You do. You like them. You're like, I'm so clever. I'm so big. I'm so influential. Oh my God. Yeah, no, it's probably not good to gaslight your victims in real time. It's probably not good to do that. I got a lot of Drake to my Kendrick, bro. I got many Drake to my Kendrick. Holy shit. Oh, you guys want to hear what I don't know? I'll share it with you. It's time for the gaslight. Fast forward 2 weeks. I hit Sean up and I'm like, bro, I'm sorry that I'm taking so long. My life is just chaotic as it is. And he knows this. But I still feel the need to apologize because I'm a decent fucking human being. And I'm like, look, I'm sorry I'm taking so long. I'm really thinking about this. It means a lot to me. It's very serious. And, I just haven't made my mind up yet. But it's coming. I promise. I didn't forget. And his response to me within minutes is, that deal was done. Do you really think that people wait around for assholes like you to make up your mind? What? Okay, homie. So I call him up. He's saying so many mean things. I call him up. I'm like, Sean, what the fuck is this? So I call up Sean and I'm like, bro, what's up with all this hate? And he's like, I don't hate you, Jamie. I can have feelings about the situation and still love you. I was like, okay, all right. Well, I actually mean hate as in like you're saying mean things to me for like no reason and I do not fucking appreciate it and you will not talk to me that way. And he was like, no. You stabbed me in the back. You did it on purpose. You're duplicitous. The record company called and they said you wouldn't sign the contract and blah. I was like, bro, we already established this. Number one, everything you're saying right now cannot be possible. I am not a part of the approval party. The only thing that my vote does for you is make you look good. It's a vote of confidence. That's it. That's all it is. It's me going, yeah, guys, continue doing what you're doing and I won't hate you. That's all my vote counted for. So never mind the fact that what he was saying was virtually impossible no matter what way he wanted to spin it. But I had not heard from Sean about the DLC since the initial conversation, which I started. And also, I never heard from Concord after that phone call and that email. And you remember what the guy said, right? He said, I don't have contact with upper management. And I said, oh, really? That's kind of weird, but it stuck that way, right? Which means that I couldn't have talked to the people who drafted the contract to tell them no. Because I'm not a part of the approval party, because there was no contract and it's literally impossible for that to have existed. And also, how the fuck are you going to blame someone who's not in the business for your business? Seriously, as the businessman in the situation, you think you do your due diligence, right? And I thought that was weird. I said that. I said, Sean, why didn't you do your due diligence? It's been a month and it's been 4 weeks and you have not circled back at all to inform me on any of this. And the first thing out your mouth is you think people wait around for assholes like you to make up their minds. Well, yeah, I thought so because I thought that's what was going on. But I get confused sometimes. So thanks for being so gentle and clarifying kindly about the situation. That was sarcasm. You were a real jerk about it. And when I brought it up to him and I said these things, he said, oh, you want to make this a problem, Jamie? You want this to be a problem, Jamie? I'll meet you in the fucking parking garage. And I said, hold up. You're challenging me to a duel over nothing? So let's put it all into one context. Sean Dowdell has known about my struggles over the years. I have shared them with him on multiple occasions. Okay? He has known this and he has continued to push Gray Days the way he has. And even though we had a beef to squash, I still called him up when I got a sus, inappropriate email from the publishing company he uses to do his work. Because that's honorable, that's responsible, that's respectful. When I did that, he told me he had been sitting on information for 6 years that validates most conspiracy theories around Chester's passing and the suspicious nature of his passing. I then offered him information about why my mind changed. And he said he would look at it, and then he chose not to. And when I talked to him about it, he said it was a rabbit hole, conspiracy theory, he was not going to go down. I respected that. I said, okay, your consent is everything. You don't want to do this anymore, we won't talk about it. And then 2 weeks later, I hit him up and I said, hey, I'm still working on this thought. It's very serious. And I didn't forget. I just want you to know that. And I appreciate your patience. And he fired back with, you're an asshole. Started saying a bunch of mean shit to me. I call him up and all of a sudden he's got this fabricated story about how I told the company I wasn't going to sign the deal. I'm duplicitous and I backstabbed them on purpose. I asked him about his due diligence as the businessman in the situation. I asked him why he would take someone else's word over mine, knowing that he has my number, knowing that he knows my life, knowing that he knows that I'm thinking about something specific. And he says, if you want to make this a real fucking problem, Jamie, I'll meet you outside. And I said to Sean, watch your fucking mouth. You all seem to forget who the fuck you're fucking talking to, bro. You don't know. Arrogant. So after this whole situation, I tell Sean, if you ever do that again, I'm getting people involved. If you want to threaten me and you want to do that, you can go ahead and do that. But I guarantee you, you don't know who the fuck you're talking to. You think this is shy Jamie. You think this is sad, traumatized Jamie who sees the line. They won't cross the line. They're so respectful. No, bitch. Some people don't like the West Coast. I'm fine with it. I push a line with it. You forgot who you're talking to because you never knew. And I am that motherfucker who jump out and say something to you. To your face, too. What you gonna do? You gonna hurt me? Yeah, right. Like anybody could do that more than what I've already been through. Yeah, right. Come on, son. You want to fight a child? It's going to be about as good of a fight as you could imagine. And not only, and he's going to say, Jamie, stop talking your shit. All you do is tell lies. You're so full of yourself. But the truth is that the second that happened, I sent the little voice memo, which I still have, that I sent to you, Sean, to my crew. I sent it to the homies. And I said, hey, just in case anybody sees something weird happen to me, you know who did it. Yeah, I got it in writing. I have group chats where I shared it with people because I know that shit's fucking real. So you can go ahead and talk your shit, Sean. You can go ahead and be the same fucking coward you always have been. You want to threaten my father with violence? You want to threaten me with violence? Eat ass. So I'll say it again and again and again and again. It's not slander. You can't sue me because I got receipts. Fuck grade A's. Get off the fucking stage, Sean. You aren't an entertainer. You're a fucking nuisance. You're a goddamn menace. You're a coward. You're an opportunist. You're a thief. You're a liar. You're a hypocrite. Come into my DMs. Oh, you're a clown, Jamie. Really? Really? You know, I think your power of discernment is quite weak because it seems like you confuse one thing with another. I'm the clown. I ain't nobody's bitch. I stand out here on my own. I am that change. I am that wind. Who the fuck you talking to, motherfucker? Yeah, you wouldn't know because you've been too busy avoiding the eyes because you know what you did. Knock it off.